What's up, guys? Today I'm gonna go over how to wire a Digi Uno to 30 amp 12 volt 360 watt power supply, as well as we're gonna power some lights. I've seen a lot of videos going around, and some people often quickly put everything together. When I was originally doing my Dig Quad for my light installation outside, I found a couple of things that were a little difficult. I had a problem when I was testing out with the Digi Uno of getting wires to stay in here, in this side, as well as this side. So I did a little research and found there's a lot of connectors. We have a lot of wires that we could use. Even the heavy duty gauge wire like this. This is 12 gauge. My Dig Quad was putting out a lot more amps. That one is going to power at least 750 LEDs. So I wanted to have something beefed up. Then in the original kit, when you buy this electrical terminal kit, they don't give you the proper fork connector. They give you these round connectors for 12 gauge. So then I had to go and pick up this set, these forks, because if you notice, these are a lot wider. So when you would go to try to hook it up to your power supply, it's not unscrewed right now, but you see it won't even go in, versus the fork slides right into the place. So this is one thing. I'm going to put the part in the description if you want to use the heavy duty 12 gauge power cord. But in our case, and this was confusing too, trying to find the right power cord. This doesn't, there's no actual guide or anything. This is just a regular computer power supply power cord that I cut and stripped out the wires. So originally I have these wires, you know, stripped and going in this way. But a lot of times this opening and try to get this thick of a gauge of a wire inside, any small little movement, they would pop out. So then we have what's called ferrules. So this is a ferrule kit. You'd put one of these on the ends and then crimp it down. And even trying to find the right video to figure out how to crimp down a ferrule, I thought we would crimp down this part, but we actually crimp down the metal part. But we're going to go ahead and show you how to do all of that. This is already a crimp one. See, it has like a little design. It's squeezed in place. This is the crimper for the ferrules. So the ferrule would go right in here and like this, and then it's crimped. This is going to be our actual power supply end. So on this end, I know that we're going to have it almost permanently on this power. So when it's permanent, I like using these circle clips. So the circle clip pops in, you screw it in, and that's not going to go anywhere. So let's just get a fresh set of wire. And I have two kinds of wire strippers. I have one of these. I like using these when I have to do an outlet on the wall where I don't have a lot of space. Maybe this is just popping out, and then you just pop it in and crimp it off. I found one of these. This is by Klein Tools. It's a little fancy. It's like an automatic wire stripper. So this we know is 18 gauge. So we have little numbers inside that tell you the gauge for solid core as well as stranded core. So let's go ahead and pop this in the 18 gauge. And then it's easy as this. And it strips it 1, 2, 3. So once it's stripped, I like to just twist it a little bit, get everything close together. And then this is another wire stripper as well as a crimper. And it tells you it's color coded. So from 18 to 22 gauge, we have the red, from 14 to 16 blue, and 10 to 12 yellow. Trying to crimp the yellow 12 gauge with this, it's very difficult. You can see this is just super wide and trying to get any leverage. So I had to use the vice grip to actually get those on. But with the smaller gauge, we should be fine using this crimper. So let's go ahead and get these ends crimped. And on this kit, it's pretty cool. It tells you red is, you know, certain gauge, yellow, certain gauge, and then we have a lot of blue pieces. So we'll use this blue size. We'll grab 3 of these guys. So when we're trying to strip these, you want to have them, and I'll show you. We'll start off with this ground wire, and you see how it pops through? You don't want any of this copper showing outside of this insulated portion. So you want it to be at least up to here. But you see, we crimped it a little, we stripped it a little too long, and you don't want any of this copper to show as well. So you just take your little side dike, cut it off a little bit, twist it again, and then we could put it in this portion. So we have a little bit of wire sticking out, and you want to have it right at the end. You go ahead, you grab your crimper, and you put it in your blue, and all you got to do is grab it right here and then squeeze. So squeeze it nice and tight. So that's crimped on. We have a little bit showing over here, but that's fine as long as we don't have a lot showing over here. So we'll go ahead and trim this back too. So what these wire colors specify, you'll either have a black or a red. That'll always be your hot cable. Your white is your neutral, negative, and your green is always ground. So let's put this cable to the side for now. And we have our power supply right here, and we have some graphics. So these 3 are positive, these 3 are negative, and then this is the side that gets powered. So this little sign right here is your ground sign, your neutral, your white, and then your hot, your line, the black. So we'll go ahead and unscrew all of these. And like I said, you could use the fork connectors or the round circle connectors or any connectors you want. I'm using the circle ones just because my application is in a way where I want to know that my wires are secure. This setup is going to be for my bench, for my testing area. You always want to set up a testing area before you put lights on the roof. You want to do it right the first time versus trying to troubleshoot something, you know, 10, 20, 30 feet in the air. So these, they just screw right in. So we got the hot. And you don't want to over tighten these, just tighten them just so they won't come out. Then we want to make sure we got the neutral. Wait, did I do it upside down? And things like this, I kind of have a little bit of OCD. I always like making sure that, you know, everything is looking the right way. And then we have the ground. And remember, you always want to do this with the cable unplugged. You never want to have something plugged into an outlet and then have bare wires that you're working with. Any small little thing will cause a spark, cause you to get hurt. So let's go ahead and plug this in and see if it blows up. Cool. So we got a little green light here. All of these wires are hot now. Now the next thing we got to do is we got to get power to the Digi Uno. So the cool thing about the Digi Uno, this one has Ethernet as well as your ESP board right here. And to get access to everything, we just have to pull this, and don't be afraid to use a little bit of force. There's usually a set of black clips over here. Mine went missing. I have another kit here. This one's already pre-wired, but I'm going to show you how to do all of this as well. So we could pop this off, and don't be afraid. Fuse popped out, but this is just to protect these sets of jumpers that are not used. So it's just a holder, nothing connects to it, and then we could just pop this back into place and put it away. But all the ones you buy, you'll have this black extra jumper holder. For the cable that I'm going to use to get the Dig power is just going to be another power cable like this. I'm in IT, so these are a dime a dozen. Versus throwing them out, we could always have use for them. So this end we don't need, so we could just cut that off. And then maybe about, you know, a foot in length. We'll put that to the side. If you watched the other video, we got this little stripper, got a little hole in there. Just a little bit to sort of score it, and then just use a little bit of twisting action to get the that jacket off. You don't want to cut too deep into it. Yeah, you see, I did too deep and I cut through one of the wires on the bottom. So let's go ahead and start again. So we got black, green, white. We'll do the same for this end. Sometimes you will have a power cord that you dissect, like this one, and it will have a brown and a blue. So just be aware, some cables you can get the white, green, and black. Some you will get the brown and the blue. So again, brown would be your hot, and then blue would be your neutral or a negative. And you can see on this dig, it's labeled right here, positive, and then on this side for ground, as well as negative goes in here. Let's go ahead and for getting power to it, we won't need the ground. So let's go ahead and do the same on this side. And most of your power cords for PCs, monitors, they'll be 18 gauge. So we got two ends. We'll cut the ground back. And again, we'll use our wire stripper. And remember, on the last round, I wanted to show you how to strip it, so I took a nice chunk out. But for this, we won't take that much, so we don't have to cut it back. And this one, it's cool, because this tool allows you to be very precise. So we'll wrap these again. We'll use the forks for this. So these are fork type connectors. So instead of it being round, you could just loosen the screw and then these slide right out. So again, we'll use the red, the 18 to 22 gauge. Sometimes hard seeing the hole, it's so small. Press that in. Now we want to go and do this guy. Cool. Now this end that's supposed to plug in here, you don't want to do this. The green light means it's on and you don't want to get fried. Now this is the fun part. These are the ferrules. And with the ferrules, what I like to do, I like to strip maybe a little bit shorter than this, and I'll show you why. So with the ferrules, we got to twist this a little bit tight. We got to make sure that this end is on and it's going to fit through this hole. And then we just twist it. So you see it comes over here. And then all we do with this is we got this ferrule crimper here. And only the metal portion gets inside, goes inside. And then we squeeze. And then that ferrule is on. Same over here. And you could see a crimped ferrule versus a non-crimped ferrule. Very smooth, and then this gets pressed on. So this end is going to be the end that goes into this connection. So let's go ahead and power this off. One thing I noticed is this has capacitors inside and it stores the power for a bit. You'll hear when I'll unplug the cable, and then you'll see how long it takes for that green light to go down. You want that green light to be completely off and maybe wait a second or two. Unplugged. Light still on. Then you see it slowly dim, and then give it a couple of seconds to let everything discharge. So connecting this side, it's easy. The first three positive, 1, 2, 3, then the fourth will be our neutral. And these forks, you don't have to remove the screw all the way. That's there, and then this guy goes here. Cool. Now you just want to close that, and then the way these guys go in, this is like a maybe a pH 0 or maybe a 1. Yeah, pH 1, Phillips head, and the number 1. And you don't want to be too forceful with these. Just loosen these a little bit. So the way these guys connect, so remember we're having the black as the positive. I've noticed the first time putting the ferrules in, they take a little bit of force, but we have this piece of metal. We just push back a little and then push it in. So we want to make sure that we have enough of the ferrule inside to connect. And you'll know, you might have to loosen it a little bit, especially for the first time, because these ferrules aren't screwed in, so they're not, they usually get flat at the end. So you just got to push that a little bit up, and you don't want to push it too far in. There's not that much space, so you see it's in there, and then how much actually went in. Cool. And again, you don't want to over tighten these as well. This board is little, it can't take too much torque. Alright, so now this board's powered on, or it's ready for power, and this is the USB port, USB-C, and over here you see it says USB this side, so meaning USB points this side. So we'll go ahead and pop this in. Make sure that snaps in, and we'll go ahead and power it on. Cool, power supply got power, and we have LED over here as well as LED inside on the ESP board. This end has Ethernet port. We're going to plug this in, and let's see if it gets a link. So I don't know how good you could see this. Cut the light. So we have the amber for link, and we have the green for data connectivity going in and out. Cool. So that's plugged in. Let's go ahead and power it back down. This is one of the jumpers that I made. I just made this practicing connecting ferrules, connecting wires, somewhat of a very sloppy job of soldering, but we'll go ahead and make another one of these jumper cables. I also picked up a set of these. These are breadboard connectors. before we had the ESP, or let's say you want to connect to one of the sets. We'll grab one of these brown guys. These, wrong end. We want to grab a female too. So like this would connect into one of these jumpers. So we got that connected. Then if you have a male end somewhere, that would just connect right just like that. So these are pretty cool versus getting to try to solder one of these. These guys are super close. So these cables are pretty handy. As well as a set of these. These are a set of the proper name of them. I'll put them in the description. But when we get LEDs, these are the ends that are there. So like this end connects right into here, and then if we have another cable, it would connect right into here, just like that. And then these ends are bare. Let's go ahead and pop these guys back out, and let's get ready to connect our jumper, or make our jumper cable. Depending on your site or your size of data or your direction of data, it'll show you. I'll put a picture in the description which side data should flow. If you get certain kinds of LED strips, they'll have an arrow of the direction data flows. These might have something inside. I can't see, but we know that it starts with this end. So this will connect to here, and it'll be a little confusing. For this cable, it'll be a little bit different. So we could see over here, we have our hot 12 volt data, and blue is the ground. So when we're wiring everything up, we have to match these. So the blue and the black will be the ground, the white and the green will be the data, and the red is the hot. So let's go ahead and find our sacrificial cable. This was our sacrificial cable that we just cut to make this. Let's go ahead and cut a little longer piece. And this one, we want to give it a little bit of space. I'll show you guys how to solder as well. So the way we'll connect these, we all have these orange wire nuts, and this is just for making a temporary jumper, or your applications will be very different, but you'll get the gist of what needs to be done. So we'll go ahead and strip all these ends. And you see how fast we're doing it with this tool. This tool, it costs a little bit more, but the amount of time and aggravation it'll save you, that stuff is priceless. And we want to cut this a little back. And this is a little smaller of a gauge. So this might be maybe a 416 gauge maybe. So we just want to get enough. Oh, even smaller. Oh, that was the solid core side. All right, we got some off of there, some off of there, and then some more off of there. So remember, green is always our ground. Our ground will be the blue. And the way this connects, it connects like this. So the blue and the black match, white and the green match, and the red and the red match. So we know that the black will be our ground. So we'll go ahead and twist these together. And you always want to twist where these start to braid, and you know that's not going anywhere. Now the next one will be our data. So our white and our green will connect. This guy's a little long. And the next, we got to give it some power, so our black and our red will connect. Cool. All right, I had to swap batteries, so we got this far. We just wire nutted all of these together. Let's go ahead and get some ferrules on this end. And we kind of cut these a little, strip these a little too long. So let's cut these back a little. Get these ferrules in. So always want to make sure power supply is unplugged, lights off. To get to those wires, we got to take the module off, put that to the side. And over here, we got our ground, LED 1, data, and then power. So remember, we have the white and the green, that's the data. The blue and the black is going to be our ground. So if we're looking at it like this, and then the red and the black on this end will be our power. So we'll start off with the power. And we just want to push this in. And we do it on the other hand. We just want to push this in. Grab this and tighten it. And our green is the ground. So the ground will go into here. Then our white is the data. So the data goes into the LED 1 port. So we got that there. Let's pop this guy back on. So we have our jumper cable. Let's give it some power. So let me kill the light so we can see again. This has amber, as well as some network connectivity. Now, if we plug these in, these should light up. Let's cross our fingers. Cool. We opened WLED. We got the original Dig Quad. We'll go to Discover Lights. Or wait, it already found it. We'll go to Add, Discover Lights. It found a bunch of lights. So we have our MOD WLED. I already had named it before. There's the brightness. We go into it and we could change the color. Green, blue. We could do different effects. Kill a light. Bouncing ball. We got fireworks. We got Halloween. And then turn it off. There you go. In this video, I showed you how to power your power supply, power your Digi Uno, make your jumper cables, as well as connect your lights. So now for my setup, this is going to be my bench. I'm going to sort of mount this in a way where I only access this cable. What I want to do is I have another round of 300 or 400 LEDs that I got to connect, and I want to test them out before I go onto the second story of the house. Well guys, if you're here for the first time, I'm going to show you in the next video my Dig Quad project as well as the outside lights of the house. I got them installed in the track, I got them on the house, and now this weekend I'm going to try to get it to the second floor of the house. It's a little high. I'm not too good on a ladder, so I have a friend coming to help me, and I'm going to have everything pre-configured, pre-ran all the power wires, and see if we could try to get that second phase done. If you guys are here for the first time, we showed you how to connect all of these things. I took all of my pain points while doing this stuff. I really couldn't find anyone that showed me how to crimp the ferrules, how to connect everything together. Some people that did make the videos, I think they've been doing this stuff for a long time, so they might have sped through it or figured, hey, this is just a given. This is almost common sense. So I wanted to figure out a way and show you guys how to connect all of these pieces together, which connectors to use. I'll have all of these parts in the description. You know, side dikes, ferrule crimpers, as well as this wire stripper. But thanks guys for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.